Everybody, Shara Ogan, intuitive coach here with my good friend Marcy Prohofsky, and she's going to talk about cookware and how to have healthy, conscious, toxic-free pots and pans and an environment that you create in your kitchen. So I'm really excited for this information. We're also going to make this interactive, so if you have any questions for Marcy, go ahead and shoot those over in chat. All right, I'm going to hand it over to you, Marcy.
All right. Well, it's really great to be here. I know that you and I both have a passion for healthy eating
Yes.
and using food as medicine. And one thing I didn't realize a few years ago, I was already using food to keep me healthy and strong and vibrant. And I didn't was working as a professional chef, and I had no idea that the different ways that cookware is constructed, what it's made out of, really makes a difference, not just on taste, but on performance as well as health. And it's not just nonstick cookware. So a lot of people realize, oh, Teflon, that's really toxic, right? And what they don't realize is that there are complications with all types of cookware, pretty much everything on the market, except for this line called Salad Master, which I found about 4 years ago, and I totally fell in love with it. And I'll share a little bit about that later, but I really want to focus mostly on educating people about what they're probably using now and the cost of doing that, for lack of a better word. So one thing, do you have any questions for me, or should I just babble
Yeah,
on?
I have the cookware test. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Um,
It's not quite yet.
you mean the cookware studies?
The cookware test, slide 16.
Oh yeah, yes. You can go ahead and share that. Why not?
Okay, it's shared.
Oh, okay, great. So you might see that it says stainless steel. I can't really see it right now, so I'm just trusting that it's there. Stainless steel. So people don't realize that stainless steel, it's a mixture of chromium and nickel. And there are different levels, different qualities of stainless steel, but most of them have a lot of impurities in them, and they're leaching chromium and nickel into our food, as well as potentially copper or aluminum, depending on what they're clad over. Because stainless steel does not conduct heat very well. So it has to be put over something to conduct heat. So can you see me on the screen at all? So on some cookware, there's a little slab at the bottom, and that's the heating element. So this is one type of construction. This is an old all-clad piece, which is a designer type of stainless steel, and it has stainless on the inside and it's aluminum on the outside. So this is aluminum all the way around, right? And so that conducts heat a little bit more efficiently than this would. But the piece is that stainless steel is actually very soft and pretty porous, and it can cause issues like dermatitis, ulcerative colitis. And people don't realize they're having digestive issues based on their cookware.
What?
What? Yeah, they think it's all about the food, but there's a lot to what you're cooking in.
What about when people take minerals? Because a lot of the minerals you mentioned are in some of the minerals I think I take every day.
Well, there's such thing as toxic and toxic overload, and the I don't really know how to answer that question, but I will find out and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Because I know, those mineral drops, the sea mineral drops.
Yes.
Right? I think partly what it is that some of it is actually the body can assimilate it well.
Yes.
And some of it ends up being part of bioaccumulation.
Uh-huh.
Our gut wall is so thin. Mm-hmm. And if we're having an overload of things like, iron, UCLA did a study that cast iron, they are concerned that it might contribute to Alzheimer's.
Wow.
Plus you get, oxidation from seasoning the pan. Most people will not necessarily season it properly. It sits out in air and it oxidizes. It rancifies.
So if it's not oiled, then it will rancify? Is that what you mean?
No, I'm saying that the oils that we're using often will rancify. It's important to use really specific oils. But the thing is that people don't realize until they start to do a taste test, and I can tell you how to do that. The cast iron makes our food very bitter. Same with stainless steel. I just did a demonstration this morning for a couple, and they did our pan test. You can take a cup of water, add a teaspoon of baking soda to that, cook it for about 10 minutes on high till it evaporates to about a half a cup. And you can just have a little tiny dab, and you can taste what's happening, the flavor that is being added to your food in, of course, a high concentration, because in this experiment, we're taking the food out. Mm-hmm. So, there are natural minerals that are in our food, mm-hmm. and there's always a chemical and energy activity that's happening when we're cooking. There's alchemy happening, right? So when we cook with a lot of water, we have our cookware, whatever the surfaces are made out of, mm-hmm. and even the underlying surface, as the heat conductor in this mm-hmm. stainless, for instance, because it starts to bleed through that aluminum. Same with like stainless, or this is an old what we call anodized aluminum. It's dipped in to make it more nonstick and more smooth, but as it wears down, and even so, these are banned in countries like Germany, Hungary, Great Britain, Brazil. We don't have any regulations in the U.S. on cookware.
Yeah, I've also been wondering. I have a stainless steel pot, and I've burnt the bottom, and I'm sure that's very toxic. I mean, I cleaned it with, steel wool and stuff, but then that's super toxic. Is that toxic to eat out of it after that?
Well, you're talking, you burned the bottom of the pan,
I
or
burned the bottom, but it definitely went up to the, both sides of the bottom were a little black.
So inside it's still...
Inside, yeah.
Well, because stainless steel is quite porous, that's why so many people will have a nonstick pan. They might have stainless steel because they think that's the healthiest, but they'll still have a nonstick pan for their eggs because so much stuff sticks to it. I don't use stainless anymore. I don't use anything but this mm-hmm. company, this brand of cookware called Salad Master. Mm-hmm. It's made with a stainless with titanium, which is 100 times more corrosion resistant than your standard stainless steel. It's the same thing that they would put into a hip replacement. It's so durable. It's inert, so it doesn't leach any funky flavors into the food.
And non-stick pans are toxic, is that correct?
Non-stick pans are, I would say, the worst.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So there's all sorts of non-stick pans on the market. A lot of them is about marketing. Like this would be called a ceramic pan. This would be called, I think this is more like a regular stainless.
But what about All-Clad? My husband's like, All-Clad is the best.
Well, All-Clad is just a name brand of stainless steel.
Yeah.
It's basically buying like, a Lexus instead of a Toyota.
Yeah.
But it's still a car, and it's still, right. Or like I have, it's just a brand name.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to hear more about your products and what differentiates them.
Well, I do want to just point out a little bit more. So the issue with nonstick is a lot of people still use nonsticks. A lot of celebrity chefs are using nonstick. They'll be demonstrating something on the internet, on their shows, and they're using nonstick, especially for eggs. It's generally the cookware of preference. And the issue is that, for one, is that it's off-gassing. As you heat it up, it's off-gassing. And it's creating respiratory issues that are also causing other things. There's something called Teflon toxicosis. They're flu-like symptoms that people think are flu, but they're actually caused by their cookware.
Crazy.
It is crazy. And they are basically disposable items, in about 6 months of use, especially at high heat, and whatever utensils, they'll start to chip and peel away. That stuff is going into the food. It's going into our system. There are known carcinogens, global pollutants in these things. There's a movie called The Devil We Know. That's a documentary, and then they made it for a dramatization of it, starring Mark Ruffalo. He produced it as well, called Dark Waters. And I invite everybody who's watching this to take a look at those, because you'll never want to use nonstick again. And I really plead
It's
that
called
you
The
don't.
Devil Within. Is that
The Devil We Know.
Okay.
Yeah, it came out I think 2 years ago, and then Dark Waters came out last year.
Okay.
So let me just tell you a little bit about the Salad Master cookware. So, I'm just having such a good time using it. It's so fun, and most of the cookware on the market uses the same technology that it's always used. It's got, it's the surface that you cook on, the conductivity source, which is either a slab on the bottom or somehow it goes up on the side, and then it may or may not have a lid. Well, with the Salad Master cookware, for one, it's made from that titanium, stainless with titanium, so it works like a nonstick, but it's totally inert. I can fry an egg without a drop of oil, if I wanted to. Of course, that's, people, how much oil they use and fat is a diet preference, so you can use these just like you would use any other type of cookware. But there's a thermal core on the bottom, the sides, and the lid. So each piece works like a convection oven. I mean, plus this is just a design piece. The handles are not made from plastic and they come off.
And
Which
you said you could put that into the refrigerator.
I can store food in here. And the reason being is that it's both an inert metal, so it won't leach any metals into the food as it stays in here. Plus, the lid has this valve. This is patented to Salad Master. So when this clicks, when the internal temperature of the food that you're cooking starts to click, it's an indicator, turn me down. Johns Hopkins University did a study that when we get diminishing returns on the nutrients in our food, when we cook with water as well with higher cooking temperatures. So when we exceed 200, even 190, we get diminishing returns. So it clicks below 190 degrees, indicating turn me down. So you turn it down, it creates a semi-vacuum. So then it's airtight. It's cooking at a low temperature, at a lower, with a semi-vacuum. So it cooks in a shorter period of time. It retains the nutrients. The food is so good. I mean, my vegetables in here are off the charts delicious. Like, so good.
And do they have something equivalent to the cast iron pan as well?
What do you mean by equivalent?
Like for stir fry.
You mean like the shape?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's like 40 different sizes.
I see.
Yeah. We also have a couple of electric pieces. We have an electric skillet. We have a crock pot rice cooker. My electric skillet I'm using, I just use it as like a flatbed grill for my tortillas or my scrambled eggs, or I do a whole stir fry, or I can roast a chicken in there on the stovetop. Yeah, the bigger pieces, you can actually roast a whole chicken on the stovetop.
That's amazing. Well, speaking of roasting a whole chicken, I have a Dutch oven that's ceramic, right? I was actually going to cook one tomorrow. Is that toxic?
Well, ceramic depends on what they've put in it. Some ceramic will be made with lead. Some have cadmium, or they might have boron, because the ceramic, otherwise, it needs to be tempered, right? Otherwise, in heat, it will crack. So that's what they use to temper it.
I see.
So, like 2020 did an expose on crock pots a few years back, exposing that there was lead in the inserts, those ceramic inserts.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's problematic. We actually we just have a few pieces left. Every year we come out with 2 different limited edition pieces. So this is a Dutch oven. It's a 4-foot Dutch oven. It actually doubles as a fondue pot as well.
It's
really?
Yeah. Oh, doesn't it taste different? Because ceramic has a certain clay oven taste, or tangine, something about that.
That's a great question. I don't really know how to answer that. I'd have to do like a side-by-side taste comparison.
Yeah.
I mean, what I do know is that when for like cast iron, for instance, when I cooked after I did that baking soda test I alluded to. I was more aware of what the flavors that are coming through my cookware, and I cooked some tempeh. Tempeh is
Yeah.
a
Soy.
fermented
Yeah.
soybean product, right? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't know what that is, and
Mm-hmm.
but since it's fermented, I always thought that the bitterness had to do with the fermentation, and
Mm-hmm.
I cooked it in my cast iron skillet, and I tasted the exact same taste from that um, baking soda test,
Mm.
and I was shocked.
Wow.
That was the taste from the cookware, not from the food.
Wow.
So now when I cook it in my salad master pan, it's totally clean.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
That's amazing.
It's totally a game changer for me.
So what's the price point of one of those pots or pans you have been talking about?
They're pricey. They're like 2 to 3 times the price of an all clad, or about a little kind of in the range of like Le Creuset, which is a designer piece. So in a set, each they range from. The reason why we do these in-person demos
Yeah.
is because you'll buy an all-clad piece, it'll be $100, and ours might be $300 or $400 for the same piece. In a sets range from 1,000 to 12,000 for like every single piece in our whole
Yeah.
line, which is really just for a gourmet kitchen
Yeah.
or a family that wants to split it up amongst
Yeah.
their
So
other.
how have you felt the difference from since you switched pots and pans?
Oh well, I was super bored with my cooking for one. Um, since that vapor valve, it talks to me. So I can, once I have it set to low, I can do other things. I don't have to be babysit in the kitchen as much. So there's not that pot watching or
Yeah.
stirring. It's super convenient. I just have peace of mind because I know that I'm not getting added toxins and chemicals and heavy metals into my food. Um, what I love too as a cooking coach, I can take I can work with someone who is a very, very, very beginner cook. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they don't even know how to cook at all. They use microwaves and toaster ovens and frozen foods, and they can shift into becoming a confident cook
That's
because
awesome.
because this makes it so simple and it talks
That's
to them.
awesome.
It's
All
so
right.
awesome.
In our last 45 seconds to 1 minute, is there any last words you would like to have about your product?
Well, I just want to invite people to reach out to me I'm happy to schedule some time to have a chat, to learn about what your cooking goals are. You can reach me at orgasmickitchen.com. You can also find me through Instant Messenger on Facebook, which is Marcy Prohofsky. And that's I think Shara's going to put this in the link, how
Mm-hmm.
you can spell my name.
Mm-hmm.
And so please reach out to me. I love supporting people to cook more for themselves, healthier, more confidently, more joyfully. And that's what I got. Thanks for having me, Michelle.
Wonderful. I've so enjoyed our time together. I'm so ready to taste the foods that I'm actually eating on my pots and pans and be more aware of the flavors and I'm gonna look at your website and check it all out. That sounds so exciting.
Great. All right.
All
Talk to you
right.
later.
Bye bye,
Bye.
everybody.